Okay, so we're here once again in Sword Factory, and this is a little bit of a different video. What I'm going to do today, I'm going to go ahead and compare Sword Factory and Pickaxe Factory and see which one was actually better. Now, I do know that Pickaxe Factory was taken down, and I will do a follow-up video, I think, to this one, kind of explaining what actually happened there, what kind of went down, and yeah, basically everything that kind of went down. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that one. But recently I did a poll a couple of days ago, basically asking you guys which one you preferred out of both Sword Factory and Pickaxe Factory, and it actually got a very nice amount of votes. Currently looking at this video right now, we have 455 votes, so thank you very much to everyone who did actually vote on that. And 50% of people actually went ahead and said Sword Factory, whereas 25% people said Pickaxe Factory, 15% actually said that they're both bad, and then 10% said they're both the same. So obviously for those people who did say it was the same, I can see where they're coming from, because obviously the games were exactly the same realistically. They both had the exact same concept, and it was basically just Sword Factory versus Sword Factory with pickaxes, more or less. But there was actually some differences that did actually give people the reasoning behind why they liked either one. Now, obviously, for those who said they're both bad, basically they are just the people who hate both games. Now, I know there will be a couple of people in there who don't actually mind the games, and they probably do play the games. It's more just kind of like the drama that surrounds both of the games, and obviously I can see where those people come from. However, before we get into all of that, let's go ahead and compare both Sword Factory and Pickaxe Factory. So, seems as though Pickaxe Factory isn't actually a game anymore, we can't exactly go ahead and look at it properly. So what I'm going to have to do is kind of just splice in little bits of clips here and there from the previous video that I did on Pickaxe Factory even, and then whilst we're here in Sword Factory, we can obviously then go ahead and compare them like so. So I think first off, we'll go ahead and compare the contents of each game and see which one had more content, see which one had the better content, and so on and so forth. So obviously right now in Sword Factory, we do have a fair amount of different things. As you can see, we've gotten a lot of quality, we've gotten a lot of different rarities that go all the way down to cosmic. Obviously we have a ton of class, a ton of molds that are being actually done in, some new ones that are being brought in, like uranium and moonstone and stuff like that. And then we also have obviously the usual 36 enchantments like so. And on top of that, obviously we have a different style of machine, which has a very nice build to it, obviously, which was, I believe, it is actually better than Pickaxe Factory. We also have obviously the two ascenders like so, and we also did actually get sword fusing as well recently, which is very, very nice. Now obviously, looking on Pickaxe Factory, in terms of actually the overall content of the game, there was actually quite a bit less. Now, there was obviously the Ascender, however, there wasn't the upgraded Ascender, so that is kind of like a point off there for Pickaxe Factory. And I do know that fusing was actually going to be added into the game, and it did actually add like kind of like the little area of where it's actually going to be used. However, I don't actually believe they ever actually got round to adding in the fusing. So again, I guess in terms of actual content, that also gets a downvote. Now, basically where it actually gains the points over Sword Factory is the amount of things that were actually in the game in terms of the lists over here. So in terms of the quality, beyond Unlimited, there was actually a lot of things added. Again, the same with Rarity. Cosmic wasn't actually the top one. Instead, we've got other things like Infinity, I believe that was the top one. And again, with Class, there was more below Immortal. And again, the same for Mold. There was a lot more below Amalite. And then in terms of the enchants list, I believe it went down all the way to enchant L, which is, I believe, enchant 50, if I'm not too mistaken. But yeah, in terms of the actual stuff that you could get on your pickaxes, they definitely got the points there. So I guess in terms of content, it's more or less even. Now, another thing that the game didn't have in terms of Pickaxe Factory, this one has 5 worlds, as you can see, with the Island of Magma. However, Pickaxe Factory obviously only had the 4 from Neon's and below. However, it did actually have an extra little bit of luck. I believe it was called Omega Luck spawns, which haven't happened every like 85 times or something like that. So again, in terms of content, they were fairly even, and I guess it depends what you guys actually prefer. Do you prefer the double ascenders, or do you prefer the chance of getting something completely different that the other game didn't have? So in terms of my personal opinion, I would say that Sword Factory does get the edge just because it has a couple of other things that are a little bit different that do actually spice up the game, and obviously the main one actually being item fusing, as you can see over here. So in terms of actually having something or a feature that wasn't in the other game, I do believe Sword Factory gets the edge there. Now moving on, we'll go for the fun. Now this is obviously the main part of the game. Which game was actually more fun? Now again, this does depend on personal opinion, and starting off, we'll go ahead and start off with Sword Factory. Now obviously with Sword Factory there is the double ascenders, I've said before, which does add the fact that you can obviously get more things upgraded more often, which is very, very nice. And on top of that, there is more worlds, as you can see, with the 5 worlds. So if you want to go ahead and get a little bit of a challenge, you can go ahead and get there through Island of Magma. And on top of that as well, it's actually more of a grind to do Sword Factory. So when you actually get something good, it feels more rewarding. Now, obviously, in terms of getting stuff, as you can see here on my bank, to get things like uranium, it feels very, very nice to get something out of your machine, which is very nice. And as well as that, like my topaz sword, as you can see here, that was amazing, amazing feeling to get. And it also felt really, really nice when I got donated the Painite sword that I've got over here right now. So in terms of actual feeling of reward, I would say that Sword Factory does get the edge. However, the thing that Pickaxe Factory has that Sword Factory doesn't, it had the 10,000 times luck, which basically meant that everything that you can get in Sword Factory now, you basically got that and more. So obviously there's a ton of people getting things like cosmics. Even I had an eternal minus pickaxe with all sorts of different class and molds on it. So yeah, that was basically, it was more or less, as I said in the title of that video, it was Sword Factory on steroids. Now we also had a lot more in terms of the machines. We had a lot more prestige because I believe the prestige only added 25 levels instead of the 50 levels that Sword Factory has. And on top of that as well, we had things up to like level 1500, which means that we were getting a lot of good stuff out of the machines. And obviously another thing on top of that is the fact that the Ascender, as you can see now in Sword Factory, this takes around a second to do each one. However, in Pickaxe Factory, it was like 1 millisecond, so we basically got things instantly. It was just like dum 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 dum. And yeah, that basically means that we could get a lot more things a lot quicker. So I guess in terms of the actual Ascenders, the fact that Pickaxe Factory actually had things that were instantly coming out of the Ascender, just like constant, I guess that kind of makes up for the double Ascenders, as you can see in Sword Factory. However, still, again, it is a personal opinion. So for the guys who do like to see different things, new things, and things a lot quicker, obviously the preferred Pickaxe Factory. However, for those guys who like the things such as rewarding feelings and just the overall grind, those people would obviously prefer Sword Factory. Now, in terms of overall fun, for me, Pickaxe Factory did actually peak the fun, I do believe, in terms of actual fun feeling and entertainment value. However, it didn't have the longevity. Obviously, once you get that Eternal Minus, it's kind of cool. It's really fun for around an hour. However, it does obviously then get boring because there's not really anything to work towards after that, because you kind of just feel like, oh, I've already got all the best stuff. What's the point? You was already up to like level 600 in an hour. So in terms of fun, and again, it does come down to personal preference, I would again give the point to Sword Factory, just for the fact that it is obviously more of a grind to play, and obviously then that rewarding feeling does last longer. Obviously, getting an Eternal Minus is very, very nice. However, if I was to get the Eternal Minus in Sword Factory, it would feel a lot better than obviously it did in Pickaxe Factory. So I would have to again give the point to Sword Factory, which means that Sword Factory is obviously winning now by 2-0. Now, I think the last thing to kind of put on is which was better out of the community. So in terms of games, obviously the communities are a big part of the game, because it's basically the players who do actually make the game what it is. So obviously the developers do bring the game out, however without a game or without a community, there's not really any game, there's not really anything to play. So in terms of overall community, I do know that there is obviously the bad sides to both Sword Factory and Pickaxe Factory. However, with the recent drama that did actually happen between Sword Factory and Pickaxe Factory, I can't really say which one's better. However, from what I saw in terms of Samir Dev's Discord group, it was quite horrendous. Now, I'm not going to go into it too much because I do want to make another video on it, on basically what happened. However, in terms of community, I would have to again give it to Sword Factory just for the fact that, yeah, the players that did actually stick around with Sword Factory didn't really care too much about the drama, and obviously that is basically what you want from a community, is no drama whatsoever. So for those who did actually stick around in terms of actually playing Sword Factory, and those who do still play Sword Factory, they are basically the drama-free, carefree players. They're just here to have fun. So again, I do have to give the point to Sword Factory just for the fact that it was just kind of weird what happened, and obviously you will, if you don't understand what happened, I probably will release the video tomorrow, so make sure you guys do stick around for that one. But yeah, and again, obviously in terms of overall votes for the players, obviously most people did say Sword Factory, so again, it does seem like Sword Factory does get the upper hand in terms of just kind of like overall experience. Now, again, as I said before, I will release another video on like this kind of topic about what actually went down with Sword Factory and Pickaxe Factory, and basically it will kind of explain a little bit more as to why Pickaxe Factory is no longer existing, what kind of happened, and just why Sword Factory does have the upper hand overall. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do apologise if my voice does sound a little bit raspy or whatever, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you do stick around to see that next video, and I'll see you all in the next video.